Good afternoon again, Earth Wizards. This is the 14th session, the concluding session of our 7-day program. And this afternoon, you'll hear more about the 7777, which you will be receiving in this session.
Good afternoon, and I have to say it's been a very, very interesting and long journey. I would that it had been 7 weeks, but it's just been 7 days here, and my responsibility has been to communicate to you the at least the basic aspects and principles of the law of time, the comprehension that because we have been living in a distorted time frame, as it were, the 1260 artificial time frame, that we could not understand the true nature of time, that the true nature of time could only come through a series of revelations, because revelation is what breaks through the conditioned mindset. And so only by breaking through the conditioned mindset can we begin to have some understanding of what is meant by the law of time, that we're dealing with different orders of time, the cyclic order of time, the synchronic order of time, that time is the fourth dimension, that time is a form of information biology, that there are absolutely perfect harmonics of time by which the biology of the universe is regulated as a form of continuously recirculating information, and that through to understand all of this, that the revelations of the law of time have been all based on the restoration of the natural biological cosmic cycle, the bio-solar telepathic cycle of 28 days, 13 times a year, which is a reflection of the moon going around the earth 13 times as the earth orbits the sun once. And that this also is a cycle that we find in the rotation of the sun itself on its axis, that at a mean point just north and south of the equator it turns 28. It turns once every 28 days. That the mathematics of the law of time are not a decimal mathematics, but a vigesimal mathematics, that to properly understand the law of time and the true nature of time, we need to go to a mathematics that is not the same as the mathematics of space, that there is a mathematics of time, that as the fourth dimension, time is greater than and includes the third dimension, that time, the fourth dimension, informs the third dimension, that from the point of view of space, space is infinite and time is unlocatable. But from the point of view of time, space is an infinitely locatable point, which is your consciousness, that the evolution of time is the evolution of consciousness. The dynamics of the evolution of time are the evolution of consciousness, that consciousness is a property of stellar evolution, that consciousness is evolved by the star system, that the different planets of the star system hold the different harmonic resonant patterns of the particular star, and those harmonic patterns or waves are the functions, or hold the different functions of consciousness, that these can be mapped out on a fourth dimensional interplanetary map, which is known as the telectronon, and that in the process or the course of the evolution of the star systems, that we also have a particular situation of why was it that here on this planet that we got separated from the natural timing frequency, that the rest of life in the universe is functioning on this natural timing frequency. Why did we get separated from it? And this brings in then the fact that we are dealing with the universal theology that has to do with the free will zone, the experiment in the free will zone, that the free will zone is defined as the Velatropa sector, that it's a zone 6,000 light years in circumference that is defined by the pulsar called Vela, which is a remnant of a supernova, and that this pulsar defines the entire experimental zone, that our star, Kinechahau, is or V24, Velatropa 24, is at the very center of this experimental zone, and that the different errors and karmic residue of the experiments of free will that have occurred have been deposited at the very center of the Velatropa sector, and that in our planetary system that we have had this karmic residue and error, which was visited first on Maldek, the fifth planet, which is now the asteroid belt, which holds the sound of the mysterious lost chord Zymox, and that from Maldek the error was transmitted to Mars, where the civilization of Mars was blown out, and now the final place, the repository of that error, is here on Earth. And during the last 5,200 year cycle, that we've entered the intense zone of trial and testing, and that to understand all of this, where we are at this point in time, which is spoken about in the sacred texts and the prophecies of all peoples, that the revelation of the law of time has come to help us to understand our position in time and where we are according to the Mayan Great Cycle. We are now some less than 13 years from the ending of the Great Cycle on the winter solstice 2012, which incidentally at that point in time the Earth will be perfectly aligned with galactic center in the constellation Sagittarius. And so that is a perfect alignment of the Earth with the galactic center. And that's what else did we miss in our review? You got all that, right? Come on. Just so to help us get through that, not only do we have the analysis of the problem, the analysis of how we got here, that this is the moment of the judgment day, but then we also have the instruments or the tools to help reharmonize and rearrange the synchronic order in a harmonic way, because during the 1260 deformation of time, that the genetic code and our perceptions became deformed to such a degree that we think peace is war and the universe is flat. But so we need to get out of that quagmire, and so the instruments and tools like the 260 postulates of the dynamics of time, the 20 tablets of the law of time, and the 7777 have been revealed and given us as the tools so that we actually can participate in what is usually referred to as the second creation. In the cosmology of this final dispensation, this revelation which confirms all previous revelation, and as we demonstrated this morning mathematically, that the law of time affirms the final criterion of the historical cycle, which is the Holy Quran, and the law of time is found in the Holy Quran, just as the 19 code of the Holy Quran is found to be the main mathematical constant in the Mayan Tzolk'in, so that we have complete affirmation of these points. In this cosmology, we speak of three types, which are all one type, okay, of the emerging evolution. Because also we saw that at this point, which is referred to as the Judgment Day trial, that we are actually at the point of what is referred to as the biosphere-noosphere transition, the catharsis of the biosphere in a state of high biogeochemical heat and transduction, that the passage from the biosphere to the noosphere represents the creation of a telepathically unified field among the human species, which can only come about by the human species being restored into the correct timing frequency, the 1320 timing frequency. And when we are restored in the 1320 timing frequency, the universal telepathy then creates a a sphere around the planet which encompasses the biosphere, which is referred to as the noosphere, the mental sphere around the planet, and that can only be a complete integrated mental sphere as a result of the universal telepathy that is restored by living in the 1320 frequency, and which again is based on the following and being a function of the 13-moon calendar. And this points to the preparation for the emergence into the next geological cycle of the Earth, which is the Psychozoic era, which occurs or will occur or is scheduled to occur in 2013, following the closeout of the Great Cycle at the end of 2012. And so to prepare for that, we are being evolved no longer at the material level, but at the mental and the spiritual level, so that we can fully participate in the fourth dimensional order of reality. All of life is one, everything is a unity. The awakening of the soul of the earth is the awakening of our own soul and unitary consciousness. When at the time of resurrection, there's only one soul that is resurrected. We're all made from one prototype atom, Cadmon, and that prototype exists in all of us. There is no such thing as separation. That is a disease of the mind caused by the 1260 Satan trap of artificial time. So in preparation for all this, that we have the emergence of a new evolutionary type. Generically, the evolutionary type is referred to as the Earth Wizard. The Earth Wizard is the being that lives completely in harmony with the Earth, lives completely in the 1320 timing frequency, and has the capacity to practice the celestial harmonics that define the higher levels of the fourth dimensional order of mind as they are defined in the 260 postulates of the dynamics of time. Aren't you glad this is being recorded? It's good. Glad you're still there, laughing. See, you gotta have a laugh every so often. Okay, so the Earth Wizard lives in harmony with the earth beneath the primal tree. That's why the first way of the runes of the 20 tablets is called the way of the tree. Okay, practicing a conduct that that is a perfect morality, and therefore dispenses with any need for government, for legislation, for institutions, for corporations, for multinational crap. You have to get blunt sometimes. And that sitting there beneath the primal tree, tending the garden, that we have returned back to the original garden, back to the orchard, restored the planet, that the Earth Wizard practices, though at different levels, different levels of Earth Wizards can practice as much as they want, what is referred to as chrononautics, which literally means navigating in time, because in the Psychozoic era, which is actually the entrance into the Green Central Castle, the Emerald City of Oz, that in the Psychozoic era that we'll learn how to time travel just as we've learned how to travel in space in the degraded era of the 1260. And that as the practice of chrononautics, the Earth Wizard goes to higher tech called Chrononautic Institute, of which this is a really, really, really feeble facsimile that we've just begun to get to. But and the practice of the chrononautics involves the various, and these are just the primitive beginning levels of the tools, the Telectanon playing board and the 777 and the dream spell are just the beginning points of that practice of the chrononautics. So we have the Earth Wizard, which is the whole generic type. That's the definition of the new evolutionary type of being living in harmony with the Earth. Technically, when the Earth Wizard is practicing the dynamics of time and practicing the beginning stages of the science of time, which is based on the law of time, then that is referred to as being a chrononaut, okay, or practicing chrononautics. You can go around and say, hey, I'm a chrononaut. Watch this, and zoom, suddenly you're in a double terminated crystal and you're gone. Or maybe part of you is there and the other part's having dinner in Australia. So that's the chrononaut and the earth wisdom. So when we speak about the earth wizard in that way, we have a diagram in your text 28.8 which describes the earth wizard and in terms of the whole cosmology of time, in terms like of the previous types that the earth wizard consummates. The earth wizard consummates the shaman, the earth wizard consummates the yogi, the earth wizard consummates the saint, the mystic, the earth wizard consummates the creative artist, scientist of the historic period, and so the earth wizard is the one who emerges into living in cosmic consciousness. That we have emerged from the ocean of the cosmic unconscious, which is like the garbage of alphabet soup, into the ocean of the cosmic consciousness, which is the clarity of the cosmic order revealed within our very being and within our very body. So we have these different definitions, but you can study that and you can see that it's at 28.8 is the illustration towards the end of your text there, that everything is in harmony because according to the law of time, that the formulation which governs the whole universe is energy factored by time equals art, and so the earth wizards are through their process are involved telepathically through the noosphere in transforming the earth into even greater work of art, into a conscious work of art. The earth right now is considered an unconscious work of art, and so the future evolution of the earth wizard type is to make the earth a conscious work of art, which is referred to as a planet art spore. Okay, a planetary art spore, that the whole becomes a radiosonic planetary art spore. Radiosonic refers to the type of quality and engineering, mental telepathic engineering that extends our sense organs so that we are interfacing with the rest of life in a unitary manner, so that as we do this, that we are preparing the earth actually to become more and more weightless, because we're actually dealing with the evolution of the stars. The star in its trajectory goes more and more in the direction of becoming a supernova. Then the heat intensifies, and inevitably we continue to go through a type of continuing process of evolution. But the process of evolution, we said, is the evolution of the spirit. And so as the spirit evolves, the atomic structure becomes spectralized or weightless until we get to a certain point in the far distant future where we've attained what's referred to as a state of super consciousness, and we have all become one, what's referred to as one collective fourth dimensional radiosonic soul mass, and then we can take off in our soul boat to wherever we need to go. So that's quite a ways off. It all begins by paying attention right now. So that's the part that has to do with being an earth wizard. Also, that's the third part. I knew if I explained this enough, I'd remember the third part. The third part is that by practicing chrononautics, the actual interior definition of the earth wizard is that the earth wizard is a bio-solar telepathic time conductor. Okay. The bio means life, solar means the life attuned to the star, okay, to our star, which we refer to as solar, the solar photonic and resonant vibrations of the star. And that of course happens because the Earth Wizard is absolutely attuned to the electromagnetic field of the Earth, which is always receiving the pulsations and the registrations of the local star. Biosolar telepath, because as we open to this according to the law of time, then this also arouses and awakens the telepathic capacity or the telepathic facility. And so the biosolar telepath, and then time conductor, okay, that we are, it's like we have semiconductor chips. This is a whole time conductor chip. Each one of us is a time conductor chip forming this giant galactic microbe colony, which is responsible for creating the telepathic field of the Earth, which will vastly replace the internet. And the internet is just a very, very last step before we reach that. It's very close. It's instantaneous type of communication, but people don't have control of their egos on that because it's not really telepathy. It's really a private outlet for the ego. So unless you know what kind of information you really want to communicate on there. So the wizard is the biosolar-pathic time conductor, and we're conducting cosmic universal time. Each biosolar telepath conducts cosmic universal time, transforming it into the telepathic field of the Earth, transforming it into stages and levels of cosmic understanding and relationship, transforming it into different stages and levels of how do we create the radiosonic architecture, how do we create the time travel vehicles, how do we create this whole process. The purpose of the time travel vehicles is proportionate to the level of spiritual understanding. The more we arise to a higher level of collective spiritual unification and understanding, the more possible it is to develop the time travel vehicles. The time travel vehicles are, first of all, to restore the entire star system to its original order in terms of the different harmonic waves, and then to participate in the evolution of the star. You might remember that song by Neil Young way back a long time ago. I don't remember what it was called, but the one where you got the silver ships sailing back into the sun. What was that song? Huh? After the gold rush, right. Okay, we're sailing those silver ships back into the sun. That's a reference to that. Mother Nature on the run, and then we got those silver ships going back into the sun. That's a reference to the time travel vehicles that we'll be developing so that we establish complete solar consciousness. We're starting today the time wave that takes us there. That's why we're all here right now. We're all going to be participating. We already are participating. The fifth, as we said, This, of course, is the most famous work of art produced by the Aztecs. The Aztecs were the very, very, very last wave of people in central Mexico, and this big piece, which was called the sunstone, the calendar stone, was discovered at the end of the 18th century. It had, at the time of the conquest and the destruction of the original Mexico City, which was known as Tenochtitlan, that this stone was rolled out of the main temple and into the Lake Texcoco nearby, and then it was discovered around 1780, and then thence it has been placed in the National Museum of Anthropology, and it commemorates in the very center. You'll see here in this ring here, these are the 20 solar seals. Okay, starting here, this is the same as the dragon right there. That's dragon, wind, night, seed, serpent, world bridges. Some of them you'll see are the same. For instance, the world bridger. Then here the hand is the deer, the rabbit is the star, moon is the water there. Here's the dog, here's the monkey, etc. Until you get to the sun, which is Xochitl, the flower, the flowering sun. Okay, and then this in the center, you'll see the 17th sign right here. The 17th sign is called Olin. It's the only abstract symbol in the Nahuatl version of the 20 solar seals. Olin is exactly, this sign here is the same as the sign Kaban or Earth in the dream spell. Okay, so that sign is right there, and this sign is right here. That's because, and then here 1, 2, 3, 4. That's Naui is 4. 4 Olin, 4 movement, 4 Earth. That's the central symbol. Everyone who's been sitting there wasting away in Margaritaville looking at this thing on their tequila bottle, imprinting it on their fried brain. It's right there. Okay, then looking at that face there. What is that face? What is it? Okay, that's the end of this. What this commemorates is the end of the 5th sun. We are living at the very end of the 5th sun, and the end of the 5th sun is beginning today. In each of these 4 positions here of the Naui Olin symbol, this is the first sun, which was 4, same as 4 wizard. This is the second sun, which is the same as 4 wind. This is the third sun, which is the same as 4 storm. This is the 4th sun, which is the same as 4 water. You can see there's little 4 dots in each one of those. Each of the previous worlds is named after the day on which it ends. Okay, so then the 5th sun encompasses all of them because it's the final one, and this roughly corresponds, as I said yesterday, to the 5 to 5,200 year cycles, which define the 26,000 year cycle. So that so the 5th sun is the very last sun, as I said. The date of the end of the 5th sun is on the date Naui Olin, which would be the same as 4 Earth. The day 4 Earth occurs this coming on the 4th day of the spectral moon of the 13 moon calendar, on the 5th day of May of the Gregorian calendar, when we have the very, very unusual planetary lineup that will be occurring. It's a very, very rare event, and the fact that it is occurring now and has come to our attention points to the fact that this is the sign of the beginning of the end of the 5th sun. When the 5th sun ends, the 6th sun dawns. The 6th sun is the dawning age of solar consciousness. So when we're talking about the preparation to become biosolar telepaths, that's what's involved. What you're dealing with would be like a 13-year pre-dawn, okay, in which we begin to see the actual light of the new sun, and then when we get to past the 2012 galactic, the closeout of the 13 Baktuns, and then we get to the 2013 galactic synchronization, and then we'll have the full brilliance of the 6th sun of solar consciousness. And that so this actually, just to show you, this is the date, the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the sign there, and includes all the previous suns because it's the end of the whole cycle. It's the end of the whole 26,000 year cycle. This is a big event. So then when we look at this, you'll see it points up in this direction, right through. This points right through. This is the 20th sun, Ahau, or Xochitl in the Nahuatl, Cipactli, or Imik in the Mayan, Cipactli in the Nahuatl, or the dragon and the sun in the dream spell. And right through here it points to another arrow, and then right up here at the top you see this sign here, which is the 13th sign right there. The 13th sign is the reed, Acatl, which is the same as Ben in the Mayan, and the same as the Skywalker in the dream spell. And then you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 Acatl, 13 Skywalker. Here we are today. Okay? pointing to this date, because as we said, and as we found out through the mathematics of the dream spell, what's called the cosmic self-existing principle, that for any cosmic day, the guide of the cosmic day is going to be the self-existing day of the next wave spell. This is kin 13, the end of the dragon wave spell. This is kin 17, the fourth day of the wizard wave spell. So these are the two key dates, kin 13 and kin 17. So this, originally what this referred to was the actual dedication date of this stone, which occurred on the day 13 Reed or 13 Skywalker in the year 1479. That's when this stone was created with its prophecy in the very center of it. The prophecy is literally staring everybody in the face. But it was only through following the tradition of the Chilam Balam that we were able to understand exactly what the meaning of those dates were and when they might be occurring. And so we see that what occurs is that it's pointing to this date here, and then which is the initiation of this event, and then the big event then is the Naui Olin, which occurs 5 days, 4 days later, 5 days later, whatever is 13 to 17, 4 days later. Okay, and so this is where we are today. This is an example of the synchronic order. And that, as I said, and on the New Year's Day this year, I was at, we went to Amatlan for a very special event. Amatlan is the birthplace of Quetzalcoatl, and there we were with Tata Felipe, who was the elder, who was the keeper of Amatlan, the birthplace of Quetzalcoatl, and at the noonday ceremony on July 26th, the White Resonant Wizard, Tata Felipe, gave me this particular sunstone. It's just a little touristy thing, but on the other hand, it's also the sunstone. It's the real thing at the same time. And I realized later on this year, 2 moons ago, whenever it was, when I suddenly woke up to the fact about the Naui Olin being the same as the planetary lineup, that the reason why I had been given this little sunstone this year was so I could remember that the Naui Olin date. So I was very, very thankful that I had this. I looked at it and I remembered, and I said, yes, I'd known about this for many, many years, that the Naui Olin, but I didn't know what day it was going to be. So that day is now right in front of us, and the reason of this day, which is the 13 Skywalker, is to initiate in consciousness the preparation for Naui Olin, the end of the 5th sun and the dawning of the 6th sun. So that, and then I realized that even further why this seminary had been designed not by me but by the synchronic order of time. I'm just here like you filling my slot. That said that this was supposed to occur on the first week of the 4th quarter of the 7th year of prophecy, and of course, as it so happened, that was the week that runs through kin number 7 through 13. So we have our 4 is to 7 is 7 is to 13. Whenever you meet each other in the street, instead of the secret handshake, just wink and go 4 is to 7 is 7 is to 13. And then you'll know that this is what it's about. So I saw that when I realized that not only was that the 7 days designed to be at this particular time, but it also corresponded to the beginning of the initiation of the Naui Olin, the 13 Skywalker, right at the very top of this. Then I said, well, this is a very, very interesting and special event. The synchronic order is very, very powerful. And I think we've given a number of instances during the 7 days how the synchronic order is continuously informing us. But that it happens only because we begin to follow this 13 moon calendar. And it's the 13 moon calendar that has placed more and more and more of these events in order so that we can see exactly where they are and how exactly we can be participating in these events. As it turns out, this day 13 Skywalker, which is the same as the key sign at the very top, the zenith of the sunstone, is this day. That this day also turns out to be, it's the 28th day of the planetary moon in the 7777. This means that we have laid out all of our cards in the fourth week, which is the week of the unified field atom. We have all the cards laid out, the 6 cards, Dali, Sali, Gamma, Kali, Alpha, Limi, and then the 7th card, the Celio card, is turned over on its back. We have the affirmation for the day. My role is to accomplish the actions of the Buddha. I discharge the mental electron, neutron, at the center of the earth, and then above it we have the 3 other Celio cards, Celio 7, Celio 14, Celio 21. So this is how we read the 7777 playing board, and that prepares us then, as we'll be doing very shortly, for the meditation that we'll be doing. The 7777 meditation, which includes the 20 tablets meditation, is fundamentally the meditation that will be established for the Naui Olan and for the Rainbow Bridge, because of the understanding of the law of time, that we can take the Naui Olan event and put it in a time wave that rolls until we get to Kin 98 on the day out of time. Kin 98 is the day out of time. That's the resonant mirror. Again, the power of 7. This is the 19th spin of the harmonic convergence, as we're talking about this morning. The 19th spin, the 7th year of prophecy, the 19 and the 7. The resonant mirror is that kin number 98 is another power of 7. It's 7 times 14, and the 7 times 14, this is the resonant wizard code 14 year, tone 7. So it's very, very synchronically absolutely perfect. So through the synchronic order, we can take a interplanetary mind event, which is the planetary lineup, which corresponds to the fulfillment of the prophecy of Naui Olan on the sunstone. We can take that event and make it a rolling time wave mind event. So what is going to happen? We've put this up. This is up on the web, www.tortuga.com, and this time wave describes the process of the meditation and what the purpose of this meditation is. The purpose of the meditation is to stabilize the earth at the core. As I said, the earth is in a very dangerous situation for many different reasons, not the least of which it is very close to experiencing a pole shift. And so, with the planetary lineup, there we have a very powerful point of imbalance, where the earth is way over here on the other side of the moon, the sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, the asteroid belt, of course, Jupiter and Saturn, and so there's a tremendous imbalance there. And so the first phase, what we're experiencing with the Naui Olan, we're going to be experiencing a greater and greater destabilization of the artificial 1260 institutional structures. It's usually referred to also as the day of the shaking earth. Okay, well, in what way the earth will shake, or what will shake, we can't say. All we know is what we know we are supposed to do for this day. And so here you have the meditation, the visualization of the meditation, and then we're creating a time wave that then will hold this meditation. Once you're given this meditation, and you can find this on the web, and also the Naui Olan meditation right here. And this meditation is what we'll be actually doing every day up through the time of the Rainbow Bridge. Right? And so that's the whole purpose of this, is to create a telepathic mental time wave that maintains resonance with the earth and stabilizes the earth to the point of the day out of time when we eject the Rainbow Bridge around the earth, the day and the night alternators that we spoke of. I had a dream about a week ago, maybe a little more than that, 10 days ago, about the Naui Olin date and this meditation that we will be doing. And that in this dream, I was informed that the earth had been waiting for several billion years for this moment when there would be sufficient collective consciousness that had a self-reflective nature to it that could meditate to the center of the earth and create a reflective wave coming back out of the earth, which would actually correspond to the first stage of the awakening of the soul of the earth. So that's basically what the function and the purpose of this meditation is, to stabilize the earth core and to begin to awaken the soul of the earth. Now, the time wave and the Naui Olin meditation, and then what you will also all be receiving today as you thought you were going to get off easy. No, you're all getting a final exam. This is the colored version of your final exam. You can color your own final exam, but this describes, when we're building up the purpose of all this. We'll start with the meditation today, then you'll do this meditation every day, and then on the morning of Naui Olin, wherever you are, do the meditation and hold it, and then continue to do that meditation until we get to the time of the test. The test, of course, corresponds to the 73rd chromatic, 73, the number of the biomass constant. You really have to study your 28 meditations. It's all the information's in there. I'm just giving you the lung, remember, just the recitation of this process. The test really begins then when we reach the 73rd chromatic, okay? This occurs, of course, in the human wave spell. This is the first 10 days up. Well, actually up here all through it. Here we have the human wave spell. Okay, it begins on the 23rd day of the cosmic moon and takes us up into, I think, the 6th day or so of the new year, and that on the 3rd day of this human wave spell, that then this is when the test begins. The reason why you're in your earth families, okay, is that during this 5-day process, which is also known as the Wayab, the purification cycle, the 73rd chromatic, during this 5-day cycle, all the earth families are to cooperate in creating different pulsars with the plasmas. As we know from the 777, every day of the week is coded by a plasma, so that when we hit the Wayab starts on the 4th day of the 7th week of the 13th moon. 4 is to 7 is to 7 is to 13, and it starts with the Kali, and then the next day is the Alpha, then the next day is the Limi, and then the next day is the Celio. Okay, and then we have the day out of time. The day out of time is no day of the week at all. There's no plasma. Right? It is the pure telepathic registration of this preparation, and that then after that, then we have the beginning of the new year, the blue galactic storm, which then is coded again by the Dali, and that's followed by this is the day one, year one of the second creation. This is when the process of the second creation begins. This day here is the end, the final end of the 7 years of prophecy. Then we have the day out of time, which is the Rainbow Bridge Day, when we'll be working to eject the rainbow bridge. And then the next day then begins the first day of the second creation. And then that we have 13 years of the second creation until we get to this galactic synchronization date in the year 2013. So in this, this gives you all your information of the synchronic order. On the day out of time, we will be enclosing ourselves in a cube. Everyone will be enclosing themselves in a cube with the plasmas, and that then we will be creating this cube that corresponds to the cube of the heptagon of mind of heaven, which is completed after this, because we've followed through the 7 years of prophecy, and that this is through this process of holonomic identification, then we'll be participating all over the world with groups everywhere around the planet who will be participating in this exercise. But the Earth families have to take responsibility for initiating this in a coordinated way. So on the first day of the Wayab, which is always the Gateway family, it's the Electric Wizard Day, which is the same as the third year of prophecy, actually 5 years before. The second day then is the Polar family. It jumps from the Gateway up to the Polar, and then the third day is the Cardinal family on the 5 Warrior, and the fourth day then is the Core family at the heart chakra, and then the day out of time is always the Signal family, and that's in the solar plexus. The solar plexus is what connects the Kuk-San-Sum to galactic center. So that's another key point of the day out of time, that we'll be creating a cosmic connection, okay, through the Kuk-San-Sum, the solar plexus, Kuk-San-Sum, to the Hunab-Ku, the galactic center, and that this will then resonate with the galactic center and with the vibrations also and the resonances of the sun. The sun at this time will be ejecting, at this period of time, will be ejecting a massive flare. It's going to be the largest, it's predicted to be the largest CME coronal mass ejection of the year, which will be beginning, according to the predictions, late in July. So when this coronal mass ejection occurs, its plasmic energy goes and affects the Earth's magnetic field and hits the poles. And when it hits the poles, that we want to take the plasmic ejection through the that hits it, the electromagnetic field, and telepathically create the double rainbow bridge, the day alternator and the night alternator. Telepathically extend that around from pole to pole, in much as you see it here. This is the visualization that we're asking everybody to be holding, and that through that we're going to be telepathically working to extend the plasmic ejection so that it extends from the North Pole to the South Pole. We see very much of this effect when we see a perihelion. The perihelion is when you see the sun. Sometimes we see, like this morning, for instance, there was a total halo around the sun. Okay, that's one phenomenon. And there have been plenty of those recently, and these have been increasing. But the perihelion is when you see the sun, and on each side of it, there is equidistant from the sun, there is a very, very spectralized rainbow effect with more of the iridescent spectral colors. So what we're talking about is taking a perihelion and extending it across the horizon, right? So that you have a complete rainbow that goes right across the horizon. When you see what you're going to be visualizing is you see it when the sun comes up wherever you are, you have a perihelion effect, and then extend the perihelion to the horizon. As the sun goes through the sky, that perihelion will follow it all the way. Okay. So that you'll have the effect of the rainbow bridge there. When the sun goes down, then coming up in the eastern evening sky will be another rainbow. That's the night alternator. That's what we're visualizing. The whole system of the alternators, which is will be put up on the web, and which is described in this diagram here, that the rainbow bridge is described as providing what's called a toponomonic resolution to the problem of the DNA. Toponomonic. Mnemonic is a Greek word that refers to sundial, a type of sundial, okay? So, and topo means place, okay? A sundial related to place. The rainbow bridge, the place is the earth, and instead of the sundial, the sundial is the rainbow itself, the rainbow bridge. The purpose of the rainbow bridge is to, well, this sounds very fantastic, I know, okay. As we say, the atomic bomb sounded fantastic too, and as I said before, they said, what, you're going to make you're going to get energy out of an atom and make a bomb? Okay. Well, we're going to get consciousness out of an atom and make a rainbow bridge. And so the purpose ultimately of the rainbow bridge is to replace the clock, because you always, when you look up in the sky, you'll see. You'll start to train your eye up there to see. Oh, that's what time it is. That's what time it is. So that's why it's called the DNA has been deformed by the 1260 artificial timing frequency to be dependent on the clock. And so what we're saying, no, this is the way we start to get out of it. We'll show that it says the moon and the sun and the earth and the day and the night floating in the orbits, as I read in those quotes from the Quran this morning. This is the actual timing device. These are the timing calculation devices that were set in place by creation. So the rainbow bridge, according to the hypothesis that we're working with, is making visible what was invisible, just as the law of time makes conscious what was unconscious. But we're making visible the day alternator and the night alternator. Anyone asks you what you're doing? Oh, we're just making the day and night alternators visible. Haven't you read the Quran? Might not work on everybody, but it'll stop them. So, and all of this is a test of the law of time. That the law of time says that when we are synchronized in time, that's why we're talking about why it's so important that we're establishing a telepathic time wave, that we get this time wave, that we are all synchronized, that we are doing this particular meditation and visualization, and that we get more and more groups of people around the planet who are doing this, and that those of us who are junior chrononauts, budding earth wizards, would-be biosolar telepaths, that when it comes to the web, we have to coordinate. All the information will be available. It's in the 28 meditations, and we'll have it on the www.tortuga.com for you to download and spread. All the information will be there for how to coordinate the earth families for the 5 days of the Wayab. The importance of that is that we are creating a holonomic identification with the planet Holon during a whole cycle of 5 days, which takes us from the South Pole to the North Pole to the North Temperate to the equator, and then down to the South Temperate before we hit the South Pole again for the New Year. So that's to create the whole, a wave that takes us around the planet that creates holonomic identification between a telepathic field and the planet Holon. So that's roughly some background on that. As I say, you're lucky that this is being recorded and that it will be available in the on the web, assuming that the electromagnetic field doesn't blow out on the Naui-Olin. Okay? That's why it's important for everybody here. If the electromagnetic field blows out, well then it's up to everybody here. You got the 28 meditations and you got this information. Download it as soon as you can from the web. and pass that information on as quickly as you can. Disperse it as quickly as you can. I think you had something to say, and then we're going to do a big meditation.
Just to remember the teaching on keeping your mind simple, in the present moment, precisely connecting with the synchronic order. You don't need to be interpreting all of this, you just need to practice it. So that's a very simple procedure, and the way to continuously come back if you get lost is to come back to the no time, which is yourself in the present moment. So you do have to be developing your meditative technique of being able to clear your mind and to be in the present moment and to look at the tools and to throw out all the history and garbage of your brain that says you don't understand, because you start from the present moment and you accept that you know this and you understand it. And that's how it works. So this is a practice of no ego.
Following the visualization meditation practice, then we'll have the graduation exercise, okay? Now we have, in which everyone, instead of receiving a diploma, will receive the final exam. Plus, if you are willing to be responsible for learning and studying it, a 7777 kit. And that will conclude this prophetic moment. I just wanted to say, when we were in St. Petersburg, we were giving a presentation, one of the final presentations we gave there, regarding the Rainbow Bridge, and there was an Islamic brother from Tajikistan, I believe it was, who was completely dressed in a rainbow, and he said, "Hey, we got that one. This is the rainbow around the world. That's an angel flying in the center of it." It was an interesting little text. It was all about the 29 Al-Muqatat surahs, but with the vision of the rainbow, and he had the circular rainbow vision, the circumpolar rainbow. So this is a dream in the hearts of many people. So in this meditation, we're going to go through the whole, the cubing of the codon, and then the radion cube, and then to the octahedron at the core of the earth, and then ejecting the rainbow. So if you close your eyes, and first we're going to build the cube and do the codon meditation, okay? Which also includes the psi chrono unit, okay? And and also today, which is the day red cosmic skywalker on the planet Holon, if you can visualize that. And the planet Holon, we are on the South Atlantic, between South America, between Brazil and South Africa. And in our bodily centers, we are in the solar plexus chakra, and the first thing we'll do is we'll receive a yellow magnet that is being sent to us from our brothers and sisters south of the equator, and the yellow magnet passes from their solar plexus into the center of the earth, and you can visualize that magnet just as a simple horseshoe type of magnet that passes through and turns the magnet at the center of the earth toward the north, and then it passes from the center of the earth in each one of us, and each one of us can feel the yellow magnet coming into our solar plexus, and it goes in the solar plexus. There's a flower of 4 petals, and it's the red petal, the large red petal that receives the yellow magnet that is being sent to us from our brothers and sisters south of the equator, and that yellow magnet enters and melts into the red petal of our solar plexus, our chakra there, and then at the same time you can feel the pulsing of the zone, the corresponding zone in the South Atlantic of the planet between Brazil and South Africa. Okay, overhead, if you can visualize the double tzolk'in, and that the Psi-chrono unit for the day is the 11 wizard, which is on the Omega run of the 10 galactic activation portals on the right side of the tzolk'in. As you look at it in the north, it's the 9th position down, and then if you can see that overhead, and then you can see that extending to the south where the tzolk'in switches polarity, so you can just see how that works with where that 11 wizard is on the 9th position down on the Omega galactic activation portal run. Okay, and that's overhead. Even if you can't see it, just feel that's where that is, and feel that pulsing overhead. That Psi-chrono unit is being activated there. And as you're holding yourself there with your solar plexus chakra activated, that now we're going to build the codon cube. We still have the psi plate overhead, and in the codon cube we start first with the bottom. Our codon this week is the dissolving codon, so the first line on the bottom is a yin line, and then we go to the right side. The second line is a yang line. You have the second wall of the cube that's built. It's onto the right of you. The third line is a yin line. So you have a yin line on the bottom, a yang line on the left. The third line is a yin line, on the right, and the yin line then on the left. Okay, so you have yin, yang, yin, and then on the back you have another yin line. On the front you have a yang line, and on the top you have a yang line. So you're enclosed in a cube where you have again a yin line on the bottom, a yang line on the right, a yin line on the left, a yin line on the back, a yang line in the front, and a yang line on the top. That actually forms a codon, which actually is constituted of 3 different amino acid letters, and this doesn't matter, what the meaning of those letters are, but that's a universal code of life. And in the center now in your heart, while you hold that cube, in the center in your heart, you visualize the rune, which is a violet square, inside of which is a small circle, inside of which is a small dot. Okay, and that's all violet, and it's pulsing a violet light from your heart center, and that violet light of that rune goes in all the directions, so that it vibrates to the 6 sides of the cube, vibrating the codon, which is one of the codons of life, and then you send the vibrations of that codon to all the forms of life which have that registration of those 3 different amino acid letters that constitute that codon. So you send that codon with the violet light, you send that in all the directions, and send it to all the different forms of life in which that codon is registered, so that that codon is harmonized, so that that life form that bears that codon is harmonized, that there is a healing power that you are sending out through that codon, through the violet light of the rune and the codon from the cube, as it goes out and extends to all the forms of life that have that codon registered. So that's the codon cube. Now in the 7777, we do the affirmation because we're on the 28th day, and if you can just remain in your cube, we do the affirmation, which is for this day, which is, my role is to accomplish the actions of the Buddha. I discharge the mental electron neutron to the center of the earth. And then you visualize the white seal of the plasma. You can superimpose that over the square with the circle, with the point, the violet. You can superimpose the white seal, which is like a circle, and it has like a large, almost like Y form in it. Okay, and you hold that there in your heart center as well. And then you are taking, you are having two further initiations. One is that initiation, which is now I attain the power of magnetic accomplishment, and the quintessential initiation sealed by the power of lunar elegance. So you can say, now I attain the power of magnetic accomplishment, sealed by the power of lunar elegance, as you place that seal there in your heart. And now we will create the radion cube. And the radion cube, you start, and you can place this over the codon cube. But in the radion cube, you start with, the top is the yellow Dali seal, which is the yellow circle with the cross. And then on the bottom you have the red Celi seal, which is the red seal with the wavy lines. And then on the front you have the white gamma seal, which is the line going up to the center and then making a right turn. Okay. And then on the back you have the blue Kali plasma, which is the blue circle with the sign that looks like an A. And then on the right side you place the yellow alpha plasma, which the seal is a yellow circle with what appears to be an upside down A. And then on the left side you have the red Limi seal, which looks like the pi sign, a circle with like the pi r squared sign. And that's on the left side. And then of course in the center you have the celioplasma. So now you have your radion cube enclosing the codon cube. The plasmas are further activating the codon, okay, and the energy is still streaming out from your heart center, the violet energy from that rune, which is the coordinating rune of the dissolving codon. Then, since this is the fourth week of the 7777, around are two cubes which fit like a hand in a glove. Around that we are placing a large tetrahedron. These cubes are now enclosed by a large tetrahedron. Two sides of this tetrahedron are blue, and two sides of this tetrahedron are yellow. Tetrahedron is the four triangles. Three triangles come up and hold the form, and then a fourth triangle is at the base. The base triangle is yellow, and one of the other triangles is yellow, and the two other ones are blue. And that encloses this whole construction that you've just made. Now as you sit there and hold that, now you're taking yourself and you're going with that into the center of the earth. In the center of the earth, the cubes dissolve, the tetrahedron dissolves, and in the center of the earth, the tetrahedron that you've been creating dissolves into the bottom half of a large octahedron, which is the octahedron core at the center of the earth. So the bottom of that octahedron has two yellow faces, two yellow triangular faces, and two blue triangular faces. The top half of that octahedron has two red triangular faces and two white triangular faces. The octahedron looks like two large Egyptian pyramids joined at the base, one pointing to the north and one pointing to the south. Within that octahedron, you have the polar axis that runs through it, that runs from the top point to the bottom point, and then extends from the top and bottom to the poles of the earth. Along the top polar axis, you have a red time atom. In the bottom polar axis, you have a blue time atom. The time atoms look like are like the points of a cube when you see the cube as a hexagon with one point in the center. I'm sorry, I forgot one detail. If you can go back into your radion cube, when you're done with that radion cube, you place a yellow time atom in the center, which is that hexagon shape with a yellow point on top, a yellow point on the bottom, four other points on the side, and the seventh point in the center. That's the yellow time atom. So now back to the octahedron. Back in the center of the Earth, the two on the bottom is the two blue and yellow faces. On the top is the two red and white faces. And on the polar axis, on the top polar axis, you have a red time atom, which is turning clockwise. And on the bottom of that polar axis, you have a blue time atom, which is turning counterclockwise. These time atoms are maintaining the stability of the polar axis of the Earth as it passes through the iron octahedral core at the center of the Earth. Then, if from the inside of that octahedron cube, on its right side on the gravitational plane is a white time atom, and on the left side is the yellow time atom. And these move along the gravitational plane, moving like paddle wheelers. Okay, they hold the gravitational plane. They are stabilizing the gravitational plane. So you have a red time atom on the north polar axis inside the octahedron, turning clockwise. You have a blue time atom on the polar axis of the octahedron, turning counterclockwise. You have on the gravitational plane, perpendicular to the polar plane, you have a white time atom inside the right side of the octahedron, and on the left you have a yellow time atom, which these are the two gravitational time atoms. These are to stabilize the gravitational field of the Earth. This visualization is especially important on the Naui Olin. At the center of the octahedron, you have an intense white light, which is the very center of the Earth, the very center of the soul of the Earth, and from that intense light travels upward. That white light travels upward on the polar axis and travels downward on the polar axis. You should visualize that the whole Earth is around this octahedron. That the whole Earth is around the octahedron, and this octahedron is in the center of the Earth. So that then, as this light streams up from the polar axis on the north and to the south, passing through the red time atom in the north and the blue time atom in the south within the octahedron, then the light passes out of the octahedron at the north and the south points and travels to the North Pole and to the South Pole, and thence it goes out. And as the light goes out, it starts to go into shimmering waves of rainbow iridescent plasmic spectral colors, both from the south and from the north, and in the two ways that you see in the Rainbow Bridge, until they finally connect around the Earth on both sides. So you hold that visualization there. You've got the octahedron at the center of the Earth. You've got the four time atoms, which actually constitute the master time molecule. The north polar time atom is turning clockwise. The south polar time atom, which is blue, is turning counterclockwise. The two gravitational time atoms, white and yellow, are rotating around on the gravitational axis. The octahedron is blue, has two blue and two yellow faces on its southern half, and two red and two white faces on its northern half. It's at the center of the Earth, and then you can see the whole Earth around that, enclosing it as you see it from space, and you can see transparently in the center of that the octahedron. Now, and then from that shoots out the light that then turns into the two rainbow bridges that connect the North Pole and the South Pole. As you see that, you can visualize how that energy starts to come out from both poles simultaneously, going on both sides, the day side and the night side, until it finally reaches a point where they connect. Then for the Naui Olin also, as it says in the Dynamics of Time 9.11, the purpose of the Naui Olin meditation in particular is to reactivate what are called the dormant flux tubes. The flux tubes are positive and negative electromagnetic charges on either side of the North Pole and the South Pole. And on the North Magnetic Pole, where you have the light streaming out, from the positive charge, you have a red coil, like a double, part of a double helix of a DNA going south, going down along the polar axis, and from the negative, you have a blue filament. So you have a red and a blue filament. The red comes from the positive charge, the blue from the negative charge. They go around like a double helix around the polar axis, connecting to the flux tube points on the South Pole. If the positive is on one side and the negative on the other of the North Pole, those points switch polarity on the South Pole. So you visualize this double helix coming down through the polar axis. So now you've got the whole image. You've got the whole Earth. You've got the flux tubes with the double helix coming down the polar axis, connecting the north to the south to switch polarity from the north to the south. And that's a red and blue type of filaments that create that double helix form along the polar axis. And then in the center of the Earth, you've got your luminous octahedron, your crystal core, which has the 4 time atoms, the red in the north polar axis, the blue in the south, the yellow and the white and the yellow on the gravitational axis. Luminous white light at the center is shooting out energy that comes out from both the poles, going in 2 directions, one creating the day alternator, one creating the night alternator, which are pure rainbow bridge forms. And that you see that over the whole Earth as you see it from space, so that you can visualize how those rainbows come out from both sides. They're absolutely 180 degrees apart from each other as they come out from the poles. The Earth is in its orbit, slowly turning, but the rainbow bridges remain constant. That's the one constant that holds the Earth in its place as it floats in its orbit. When you've got that visualization complete, you hold that visualization, you can see all the different features of it, the double helix filaments that connect the north and south flux tubes, the octahedron, the 4 time atoms, the whole Earth, the energy shooting out, creating the rainbow bridges. And then you hold that and you see that as if it were in front of you, okay? And then you can take the whole thing and place that in your heart, so that whole image is in your heart. The Earth is turning in your heart. In the center of the Earth is the octahedron. It's from the North Pole to the South Pole, or the double helix form of the red and white, the red and blue, a positive negative charge that goes from the flux tubes. The whole Earth is there. The energy is shooting out, creating the rainbow bridge, and the Earth is turning within the rainbow bridge, the day and night alternator, which remains constant. Place that in your heart. Keep it there. And then, because it's all holographic, you can also envision that as that's in your heart, you are also in the center of the large octahedron. That above you is the red time atom. Below you is the blue time atom on the polar axis. To your right is the white time atom. To your left is the yellow time atom. And that the core of the Earth is being stabilized, the polar axis is being stabilized, the gravitational field is being stabilized, and that all the energy of all the people doing this is stabilizing this at all times. Do this meditation every morning, especially on the Naui Olin morning. Do this meditation and then keep doing it, and we'll get more instructions for how we keep doing it and how we complete it when we reach the point of the rainbow bridge. So that's your meditation. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes, but try to remember at all times that meditation is in your heart, and it's also, you're in the middle of it, and it's around you. As I said, all of this information also will be available on the web. The Nahuatl meditation you can download, and the time wave you can download, and you can start to do this process. So now we've initiated this. We've initiated this process. This is the meaning of what we're supposed to do on that day at the very top of the sunstone. We fulfilled that part of it, and now and this is very special. This is why you all came here today, and this is what's meant by filling your slot. Because no one else did this today at this point for this purpose, with this consciousness and with this knowledge. So right now, without taking any unnecessary pride in it, know that like this group here, us, constitutes the little mass of DNA that vibrated to this prophetic point. To initiate this process. That pretty much completes what we came here to do. All that's left is to ceremoniously say goodbye, which we will do through the offering of the final exam and the 7777. So Coco and Ruth and Frank and Chris, if you could come up here, please. We'd like to do this in an orderly way, and since it's graduation, we should have some pomp and circumstance music first.
Okay, we're gonna start going row by row. So we'll start with the first row. And take your seat again. So we'll go like this, like a spiral, and then the second one. Okay, panos.
Well, this concludes the 7-day Earth Wizard Seminary from the Law of Time to the Rainbow Bridge. And this also formally concludes the mission of the 7 years of prophecy, so that, as I said when we began this event, that this is a very momentous occasion. Maybe when you came here you didn't realize how momentous it was. Maybe by this time you have some sense of how momentous an occasion it has been, and still is and will be, and that we came here to conclude the 7 years of prophecy. It was preordained, as we said, that we conclude in North America, in Turtle Island, in the land of the beast, in this country here. Everybody who has received this gift today has received a sacred gift. It is a sacred responsibility. It is a sacred privilege that you have. You should really apply yourself very well to learn it before you even think of teaching anyone else about it. You should understand that the law of time is a sacred revelation, that everything that we have presented here is a process of sacred revelation, that this has been a sacred journey, that we are here to open and close the worlds, that in the beginning that the worlds were opened according to the Hopi, that we are going from the 4th world to the 5th world. According to the Aztec sunstone, we are preparing to go from the 5th sun to the 6th sun. In the Hopi tradition, that when we go through the worlds, that we pass through an interdimensional tunnel, the Sipapu, and that we are passing through that interdimensional tunnel. The 4th world of the Hopi is ending. The 5th sun of the Aztec sunstone is ending. We are now preparing for the 6th sun of consciousness to enter, and also to enter into the 5th world, which is the age of the center. A day in the eye of God is 1,000 years. 7 years of prophecy is nothing. 13 years of the dawning of the 6th sun is nothing. But we have that much time to actually apply this knowledge, so that we actually participate in the dawning of the 6th sun of solar consciousness, so that we actually bring about the 5th world, the world of the center, that we actually do leave the time of trial and judgment, which is the 1260 world of Satan's artificial time, that this is a very sacred responsibility. This is also a sacred revolution, the revolution of time. This is a movement. This is a time wave that, insofar as any addresses or organization names exist, it's only to further the movement of the time wave, and not to establish any hierarchies of any kind. That we are here all involved in a process of transformation, that actually we are nothing but atoms and molecules undergoing stages of biogenic migration, of going from one condition to another. So don't get your ego attached to anything. We're just trying to create a galactic microbe colony that will unify the Earth, that will stabilize the solar system, that will accelerate the process of stellar evolution, that will create a greater field of consciousness on this planet here. And so that is really what this is about. That's what we have been participating in. Don't have any illusions that it's anything other than that. You don't have to go, as I said, be particularly proud of it. And on the other hand, inside in your heart, you should understand what this process is that you have been involved in. Forrest, did you get your graduation? You better get up here. I don't know where you've been at this time, Forrest. I'm sure you have a good excuse, but you've basically been here all the time, and you're here all the time anyway. This is your final exam, and this is your graduation present, assuming you feel responsible for it. Thank you. So anyway, that's basically what this is, and as I said, don't have any illusions about it. I know that we'll get out of here and we'll still have some of our ego struggles and so on, but let's all try to love each other. Let's all try to cooperate. Let's all try to rise above some of the things that we feel separate us, no matter where we are. That we must be all here to cooperate. If anyone appears to be someone that you don't want to deal with, remember in Lakesh that we are all the same being. We are all that unitary organism. And by it says that you did not think that you wouldn't be tested. We're all being tested, and we will experience more tests. And so we should remember that those tests are for the growth of our soul, for our spiritual development. So we should all move forward as a solid wall. We are a few people here, and we're a few people in Japan, and we're a few people in Russia, and all those few people all put together create a telepathic field, create a time wave. We all want to move like a solid wall with this time wave that we have actually engendered here. As I said, what we started here this afternoon is the very beginning, the precipitation of a time wave that's going to roll. It will roll through the Naui Olan when we should all be telepathically engaged in this process, and then we should keep rolling until we get to the time of the Rainbow Bridge. So, and then we will see where we are. We have a lot of study to do. We have a lot of work to apply ourselves to, and we have a lot to continue to communicate to others. Each one of us here is a seed. That's why it's called a seminary. We're planting seeds, and so a seed should sprout and it should communicate to other potential seeds, and let the rest of your fellow humans know what is going on. That yes, there is a new time, there is a new calendar. Just begin to follow that calendar, and you will be participating in the evolutionary process, the transformation of the world, the biosphere, noosphere transition, and all the other stuff that we've been talking about here for these 7 days. So thank you very, very much, as I said, for your attention. And my responsibility is to deliver this message. You've all got a sacred gift, and I want you to remember that it is a sacred gift. Some of us will learn faster, and some of us will learn slower. Let's all just pull together. Let's not disparage those who learn slower, and if you learn faster, don't become arrogant about it, but extend your knowledge, extend your hand to somebody else. If you think you're so smart, then extend your knowledge to somebody else and say, here, I can give you this knowledge. Let's pull up together.
And it's a very helpful practice in whatever form you do it, to surrender to the divine source, to God, to that higher power. Surrender your ego. When you find yourself out of control, out of hand, remember you've fallen off balance, and to come back into balance, come back to the present moment and surrender to the moment. For time is the natural law, and time will organize us. So we really do love each and every one of you, and we must break the old patterns of our ego and go forward in the new time of love, where truth is love, tolerance is justice, peace is forever. I'm sure we have announcements, but we need music first.
Okay, well, back to have a blast.
I've been asked to speak on behalf of the Earth Wizards kin due to the fact that we started the 7 years of prophecy together with the publication of the Magnetic Seed Calendar 144, and we're completing the 144 week. So here we are again, completing the 7 years of prophecy together. It must be that synchronic order, yes. And they've asked me to express our gratitude and appreciation to you. Words are certainly inadequate to fulfill that. I want you to feel every heart in this room, in your hearts, and know that's where we are. And we're yes, just details, the burning of the Gregorian calendars at the Serpent Mound to initiate the calendar change process, yes. And I want you to know that, you know, the weight that you've carried and for dedicating your life to bringing forth this material is being carried forth by everyone in this room now. So lighten your load. You can relax. We're taking up the yoke, and our yoke is light. In appreciation for the effort this week, we want to present you with this gift coming to you from a couple of monkeykin, your own self, your own in Lakesh, leading the way. And you are, it's designed to be slept beneath, yes. Please wrap yourself in this on the evening. All right, yay! That's right, absolutely. It's a gift from all the kin, but it was actually made by Carol Adonis, rhythmic human, presented on behalf of all the kin. 22 white roses and 11 red roses. Kin 22, kin 11. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We would also like to personally thank Coco and Ruth for leaving their families for 3 full moons to come here, and were the main driving force to making the Earth Wizard Intensive a successful event. We have love from all of our hearts. We would like to present this bouquet to Ruth. I love you very much. Thank you. And if I get some help, we would like to take down the Zolkin here that was made in Pikar King by Carol Adonis, rhythmic human. And we would like you to take that home with you, Coco and Ruth. as a gift. What am I doing with the flowers? You're supposed to take them. So. We'll see you in Costa Rica.
Well, it's been a pleasure for us. A very great pleasure, and the only thing that I really want to remind you is fill up your slots. We need those slots filled. And also to thank the whole team, David Rink back there, who was with us through the whole thing too, and he's doing a great job in Tortuga. All the team from here, from Portland, have been excellent to us, and they have helped us in every way, and without them we wouldn't have done it. So it's all of us. Thank you.
Oh, what am I doing with this? Those of you that were in, thank you. Those of you that were in Circle last night over just off the golf course by the pavilion by the croquet courts, the croquet grass. On the other side of the parking lot, in that area is the Tartan Pub and Inn, and that's where we will be holding the celebration this evening with the Andre St. James Trio. He's a wonderful bass player, local bass player here in Portland. Additionally, if kin wish to gather, room 222 will be available later as well, after the party. The party is tonight from Linear Construct 6 till Linear Construct 9 p.m. Once again, an additional logistical reminder, if you have not yet spoken with the folks at the front desk about getting your airporter to the Portland International Airport, you're running a little thin there. So go down and make sure that you talk to someone. Thank you so much for being in La Cache. Is someone else? Someone needs a ride to Colorado? Who is that?
I just want to make an announcement. I know that a couple of you are from Colorado because I was looking through the addresses, and my partner and I need to get to the Durango area, to Mesa Verde. So if people are driving and would like some help paying for the drive, we could really use the ride. Otherwise, the difficulty that I'm having is I don't have a credit card, and they won't let me rent a car because I don't have a credit card. Even though I have cash, I have all the cash that it would cost. They won't.
Love the 1260, huh?
I'm in a difficult bind, so I need to get there. There's something really important going on in Colorado that I really wanted to attend. And if anybody would be open to helping us rent the car, much gratitude and love would be extended. So I'm just putting out the possibility. Thank you.
Everyone repeat after me, please. Ayum hunabku evemaya emaho. Ayum hunabku evemaya emaho. Ayum hunabku evemaya emaho.